City Attorney, would you assist us with Resolution R-02-34?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Resolution number R-02-34 is an identification given to the proposed employment contract between Mr. Watson and the City of Alachua. If you recall, at last week's meeting, Mr. Watson delivered and discussed with the commission approximately 6 points that were of significance to Mr. Watson and his interim agreement. I took those points and have incorporated those issues in the agreement that you have before you, and I did submit this to Mr. Watson for his review. As late as today, though, we discussed one particular item, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Watson, but I will go ahead and draw your attention to it, and you might want to inquire, Mr. Watson. There is a paragraph in Section 3 dealing with termination and severance pay that provided that if during the term of this interim employment the city were to terminate that employment, Mr. Watson would be eligible for 3 months aggregate salary and COBRA benefits for 3 months, and it was a provision very similar to that had been in the contract with the previous city manager. I discussed the possibility with Mr. Watson that given the short term of this interim appointment and given the presence of the possibility of if this particular position did not continue on, that Mr. Watson would resume his position in the police department, that the severance paragraph might not be a necessity in a contract dealing with such a short term. I believe, and I do not want to speak for Mr. Watson, but I believe he found the deletion of that paragraph acceptable given the short term of this document, but did ask me in my capacity as city attorney to certainly indicate that if at some point a longer term agreement is addressed, that certainly severance would be a function of that. And I would turn the discussion to Mr. Watson if there's any additional information you'd like to offer on that paragraph.
You said, well, City Attorney, basically that deletion we discussed, I didn't see a need for severance because I will be going directly back to my job as Deputy Chief, so I really won't miss any salaries. It just would be at a different level. So I didn't see a necessity of having that unless we come to some other long-term agreement after this 90 days. Then that will come back up for discussion.
So given that, Madam Mayor and Commissioners, that would require an amendment to the document to delete what is now Section 3, Paragraph A, and re-letter what is now Paragraph B and identify it as Paragraph A, because essentially you're just deleting Paragraph A there in Section 3. And then finally, again, through the essence of the email, there were also 2 Scrivener's errors in this on the second page, up at the top in Section 1, Duties. You see a reference to Section 24 of the City Charter. That needs to be corrected. It should be Article 4 of the City Charter. And then also on the second page in Section 2, there is a reference to Section 23 of the City Charter. That should also be Article 4 of the City Charter. And with that deletion in Section 3 dealing with the severance and the correction of those 2 Scrivener's errors, I would put this before you for your consideration this evening. And again, this document was fashioned after those principal points of discussion which Mr. Watson offered to the Commission that you discussed last week.
Madam Mayor, I believe there's 2 other areas at least that should be Article 4. I think the first whereas.
Again.
That should be, I believe, Article 4. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then on the 1, 2, maybe we should just say wherever that is. Oh, there's another page I saw it too.
Yeah, it's at the top of page 2.
Actually, I think we've caught it. And then what we can do is, with your direction, again, this was a Scrivener's error. Wherever it indicates that, I will correct it.
Fair enough. What's the wishes of the Commission?
Madam Mayor, I move we approve Resolution R-02-04 with the amendments made, deleting Paragraph A of Section 3 and renumbering Paragraph section 3 to A and correcting Scribner's errors.
Been motioned by Commissioner Rothstein. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Is there any discussion among the commissioners? Any discussion from any members of the audience? Then we will decide the fate of Resolution R-02-34 in a roll call vote. Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Rothstein?
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Resolution R-02-34 passed 4-0.